So, paper is one of the most commonly discarded materials. We get our mailboxes flooded with paper every year with advertising material, and it's also one of the things that we send off to be recycled most commonly. But reusing paper can be a really good way of creating decorations that are inexpensive and also environmentally friendly and sustainable. Today we're going to make this lovely star, which is perfect for any sort of festive season or celebration. A friend of mine showed me how to make this star a little while ago and I became addicted very quickly. Okay, to make the star you need some paper. So I'm going to use some pages from an old book that was discontinued from a library, but you could also use colourful pages from a magazine or advertising material that comes in your letterbox. You need 6 pieces of paper, so I'm going to tear 6 sheets from this book. Okay, so we need to make a square from a rectangular piece of paper, and to do that we're going to take one corner and fold it up so that it meets flush with the edge of the opposite side of the paper, and we fold along that line there, and then we have to trim the excess off. Once we've done that, depending on how thick your paper is, you need to cut into these. So I usually do 3 at a time, but if your paper is really thick you could do 2 at a time or 1 at a time. So keep them folded. I like to say it looks like a little sandwich when I'm explaining to people. You need to cut from the folded edge to the top, and we're going to cut along. I like to use the text as a guide, but if you don't have that, roughly 1.5 centimetres from the edge. We're going to cut along there towards the point, but not all the way through. So we cut and stop about 2 centimetres from the edge. Then we're going to repeat and cut on the other side. Do the same, but again not all the way through. We don't want that to come out. We're going to cut another line, again about 1.5 centimetres in from the last cut, and repeat on the other side. Okay, so I've got 3 pieces there. Now I need to do the same with the other 3. So cutting again from the folded edge on both sides, and then in the middle. They don't have to be perfect. Okay, now we open these out and we're going to work on them as individual pieces. Now we're going to form the points of our star by folding the outer edges in together. Make sure that you're folding the open edges that are cut and not the closed edges that are joined. Okay, so you'll see the difference when you have that in front of you. So joining these 2 points together, I'm going to use our trusty stapler just to staple in there, and then we get the second piece and we turn it in the opposite direction. So you've got one going in that direction and one going in the opposite direction. We're going to do exactly the same thing. Staple that in the middle, and then we're going to take this diamond in the centre and turn it towards our first fold. And that is one point of the star. So we need to repeat this with the other 5 pieces of paper, and then I'll show you how to join them together.
Okay.
So once you've made the 6 points of your star, it's time to join them together. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to join them at the top, but you need to join them where you have all of the small loops, so the middle loop, matching the small loop of the other point. So we put smalls together, and then we'll have a large here. We need to put large together. So if you have a look at each point, you'll see that the middle piece has made a small loop and the outer piece has made a large loop. That's how you distinguish. So it will go big, small, big, small. So keep joining. A large and a large, and a small and a small. So you've got all 6 together, and you give them a staple in the middle, It doesn't quite look like a star yet because we now need to staple the midpoints together. So you grab the middle points of each star point and give that another little staple. And this spreads out the points so that it starts to look like a real star. Now you might want to think about the paper you're using. If you're using paper that doesn't have a lot of body, then your star might be a bit floppy. So it's good to use paper that's got a bit of weight to it, something that's not going to be too flimsy. I believe we have our star. So once you've got all the points together, now you can punch a hole in the top and you can add a ribbon to that to hang it up. And if you want to reinforce that, you can probably put a little bit of sticky tape before you punch the hole, and that way it will take the weight of the ribbon. So thread the ribbon through the hole. This is a reuse ribbon, came from a book, a street directory. And tying it up in a little knot, and you have your festive star.